Welcome back to Duro 3 YouTube channel. In this video we're looking at the refurbishment and upgrades of a Kenpro KR-500 Elevation rotator. This technically is the second part of this video. The first video I made, which is basically the disassembly and the upgrades I did to the motor assembly and other bits and pieces, it failed to record properly, and I have now got to go back and start from scratch in a sense with this video, but I'm not about to pull this all apart to show you what I did, so I'm going to have to show you as it is now assembled, ready to be all put back together again. So basically in this I have actually installed limit switches into this rotator, which they never have. Only the later models had them. And so there's the limit switches. They've got roller activators on these, and since I installed limit switches, you've got to put the motor start capacitor in here as well. So this setup is my own adaptation of how they do it. The normal KR-500 has a screw here that has a bar here which activates the limit switches, and they mount them in a slightly different position as these, but I had to make my own way of doing things and get it to work my way because I couldn't get those parts or didn't have the parts. So this is the original off-axis motor version, so the motor lifts up off the brake pad. So basically I've done all the modifications, done all the wiring, I've reassembled everything, I've tightened up the potentiometer movement because this was actually loose on the gear, very loose. So I had to grind the hole out a little bit, or file the hole out a bit on the pot to push it across because it was loose onto the drive gear. So now everything is looking really good in that way. So this is what I've done to here. So we'll just turn him around, come this side. So the limit switches, they're on little raised standoffs, screwed in from both sides, short screws this side, long screws that side. So that, as I said before, they've got the roller activators on them. Other little mods I had to do was just take a little bit of the corner of the hard end stop off. So that's just the little mods that I've done to that. The pot was actually refurbished, and I've actually installed a proper connector, a 7-pin LTW socket. So that's all happened there. It's all been put back together again. That's all been tested and ready to go. The mods that I do and upgrades I do to work with that is the actual normal hard end stop knock block, which hits those two end hard stops. I've ground it back and filed it to give me a little tapered edge for the roller rockers to roll up against and activate. So basically that's what happened. That will sit into here, and basically on the wrong side. I'll sit in here, and as the roller comes around, it just hits it and rolls up, and before it hits the hard end stop. You don't want them hitting the hard end stop. It's just, this is to stop them hitting the hard end stop and burning motors out and stuff. So basically this was glass bead blasted. The whole thing was stripped down, glass bead blasted, and I've painted it in a silver with a couple of coats of clear, and then I've reassembled everything. So the casings were done as well. That was completely stripped down, inside and out with glass bead blasted. The inside has been recoated clear. I've actually, what I normally do with these, I add a couple extra drain holes in the bottom, because once they get blocked, that's it. These things fill up with water. So you'll see there's 3 drain holes now. So this one has now the plate put back on, it's silicone back on again. And you may notice there's some raised points here. These are spacing washers for the mounting brackets that I'll be using, which I'll show you in a second. So there's 2, these are M8 screws. I had to tap the bottoms of these because only the top is tapped on this one, or had to do that one here actually, because this has been mounted directly to the top of the rotator, and these ones don't have the provision. These are only side mount only at this stage. So you can see this is the same, glass bead blasted, painted all round, and I have installed on both of them the top hole. I put an M8 grub screw in. That's where the actual bolts go for the long bolts for the side mount. So basically that's all been done, and then I had to tap the opposite hole on this side, whichever side it was, this side. And then I've glued on these spacer washers, so this will all become visible later on. So that will go like that, and then this bracket will be sitting on there wrong way around, goes in underneath, and it'll be going like that. So the groove is to go past this, trying to keep everything nice and tight. So we'll do more of that later on. I've actually done, I've pre-siliconed the actual whole outer edge of the very fine, that little bit popped off, bit of waste, and I've filled up the little trough here with silicone. I'll be putting another fine coat on the top here when I actually assemble it, but this will just hopefully seal it without having to put any extra silicone. But I will be putting just a small bit on the top half here when I assemble this, but the whole thing is just to get the come apart. So it acts more like a gasket, so when you're doing the whole thing up, it will just be nice and tight. So the brackets I mentioned before, these are two brackets I've made up. There's L brackets, aluminium, 3mm thick, and they've been measured, and it's a little design I made up for these, since I don't have the original steel ones that came with this. This is an adapter plate for the cinch socket, so it'll be going onto here. That'll be fixed on permanently, and then just take out this because it goes from inside out. Another upgrade is the U-bolts and stuff on this thing. We're stuffed basically, so I'm using a couple of my stainless steel folded brackets for this, and I'm using a couple of U-bolts I got through Hills. These ones are made in Australia, I believe. So these are just U-bolts, and they'll be clamping the rotator around the pipe here. So they'll go like this, and of course that will go into there like that. So basically we're moving forward, and that is the LTW. You see the LTW written on the side, or a LTW, Amphenol LTW, and probably just set the light in the right angle. 7-pin. These are just a very simple plug. IP67 rated. Has a gland on the inside here as well, which I'll try and get him out, but doesn't want. Oh, here we go. Little gland on the inside. It's like there's a little raised section in there, and this just sits into the raised section. These are a cam snap lock version, so this back section screws together, and this screws together. But to activate it onto this is a cam lock system. You probably can't see it, but there's two little tongues, so you basically have to line up your locator at the top here with the locator here. You push it in, you rotate slightly, engage the cam lock, drops down, and then you just rotate around until it stops. It goes click, and that's it. You don't tighten any more than that, because there is a rubber O-ring right here, right there. You can probably just see it. Get the light in the right direction. There's a little O-ring right here, so that's how it seals in here. So no need to put silicone and thread tape and all sorts of stuff over this. You don't need to. So, and it's sealed onto, it will be sealed, it is sealed I should say, when it goes through the plate. This I know what sort of it's made out of. It's a nice soft material, and basically this will be sitting on there like that, so that will seal onto there. And so this will be all sealed up, so no need for any extra stuff, being IP67 rated. As long as the back of this is done up, this all seals up, so don't need to worry about anything else. Right, I am going to go away and I'm going to start the assembly process of this, because I'm going to get this job done, and I'll be back shortly, hopefully. Right. Okay, we're back. Righty-o, I have now installed the bearings and their bearing guides, or bearing cleats, bearing retainers, whatever you want to call them. I don't like them, they're sharp as all hell, and cut cut you if you being the steel or stainless steel. So yeah, there's both of them done, all greased up. Got plenty of millennium disulfide in there. So basically I shall be now moving forward. Catch you soon. Yeah, we're back. Okay, I've now assembled the axle and the gear and motor assembly in. I can actually check through here, make sure everything is nothing's touching everything. I can look at the limit switches, making sure they're okay. Spacings are all right this end, so we're all looking good. So I can do all my preliminary tests, and we shall be back. So there we go. This has been together before in a dry run, but which you didn't see because that video failed, but that's beside the point. So all good skis. We'll be back. Okay, we're back. Righty-o. As you can see, I put the two housings together. I'm going to leave the cover plate off now until I do a final checks to make sure everything is good inside. Especially so you can hear things better and see that the limit switches are actually activating and working properly. So she's all together. So now I've got to go and do a few tests, and we shall button everything up. Righty-o. Catch you soon. Bye. Okay, we're done. It's all assembled. The LTW socket is in. I've done all my alignment checks. As you can see, I've got my alignment marks on here. That's all done. And the last thing I've done is I put a gauze across the bottom of my 3 holes to stop wasps and the bigger grubs and bugs and stuff from getting in. It won't stop ants, or bigger ants anyway, but it'll stop the smaller ones and stop wasps from building nests inside these. So that's what I do with that. So she's all ready to go. We shall see you. I'm going to be building up the azimuth rotator next for this assembly, and the other controller which I just posted the video for. So there we go, this is all done, sockets on and everything, so gauze protection on the bottom. So there we go, all done. We shall catch you in the next video. Bye.